everybody's on tonight. This episode is probably going to hit near and dear to people. I'm gonna say not nobody on here. I don't know. I can't speak for y'all, but I'm gonna say because Natasha is our expert. So Natasha, you probably will have a lot to say far as what you run through in your business, far as people having addictions. But we're gonna talk about porn and can it be harmful? And the reason I kind of started off with talking about COVID and things like that, I did a statistic on how many people during the COVID time became porn addicted. You would probably think that you probably wouldn't become porn addicted during the COVID time because everybody is home. But people were breaking up because they were home, you know what I mean? And
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah, a lot of things were being peeled back, you know what I mean? Because of being at home, I guess because, when you want to go, you have more opportunity to kind of fly past your mate or whatever. And, if something is beneath the surface, I'll just say that beneath the surface, COVID was not the damn time for it to become uncovered because, porn is not just a male thing. I'm not throwing that on you, CG, because you're the male representative on the porch tonight. But it is that was my next thing. 80% of women look at porn. So women can be porn addicted too. So this is our topic tonight. So can porn be harmful?
Absolutely.
Y'all got these looks on your face, so I guess nobody got no suspicion.
Only if it's taken over your whole being. But getting back to the point, Kim, of what you were saying before of it was more people watching porn during the pandemic. Maybe a lot of people were alone and you didn't want to get near anyone because you didn't want to catch COVID. So, okay, I want to pleasure myself. I'm going to watch porn or whatever for entertainment or pleasure or whatever have you, and get into it, that way. Because of that.
I agree.
Maybe that's why it's skyrocketed.
Yeah, it went off it was, as a whole between men and women, porn was around 63% of people. I guess they kind of balanced it out somewhere. I don't know how women are at 80%, because I know that even down to little teenage boys, they got on their phone looking prescriptions going on. So I don't know how they got to that 63%. But how can porn be harmful? I can think of a lot of ways how porn could be harmful, but CG, we're gonna throw you out here. We need the male perspective.
I mean, generally, yes, porn can be harmful, especially without any type of context. So, if you've never had any, introduction into sex at all, and that's your first, point of contact, that's definitely going to be, that can be definitely harmful to your psyche, especially as a boy, as a young man or whatever. Like when you're engaging with women and you think that, what you see with what's happening with porn, this is how you engage with women, and how they're stimulated and everything, and you just don't understand because no one's ever really talked to you about it. And then on top of that too, it's like, I mean, there's a lot of different categories out there. Like, so you don't know what you're doing out there. You know what I'm saying?
You don't know what rabbit hole you'll go down.
Exactly. So you don't know what actually, if you don't have any context of it, then you're not really gonna understand it. And then on top, like as well with the context of it too, like you don't know. Some people don't even know that a lot of this stuff isn't even real. It's scripted, so they're thinking that this is reality or that it mimics a reality. And it's like, like not every pizza boy is going to come through and, take you know what I'm saying? So I think within context, without having any context, it can be very dangerous to people.
I agree. Rosie, what you think?
I kind of feel like the same thing CG said. Like, I mean, first of all, with anything, too much of anything is bad.
Absolutely.
Personally speaking, I was once talking to this dude and he watched porn like it was TV shows. Like, I'd be like, oh, what are you doing? He's like, about to watch porn. Next day, what you doing? About to watch porn. That was alarming to me. Like, why are you watching porn like every day, all day, any chance you get? I just felt like, I don't know, that screamed addiction and that was alarming. So I cut him off. So I was like, why? I mean, watching it here and there, I think is fine. But every time we spoke, he was either about to watch it or just finished watching it. Sir, you got a problem.
Yeah, he's ready to be on a register somewhere because, like, what the hell is wrong with that? I mean, really.
I was like, no, thank you. That was very alarming. So I definitely think it could be a problem. I do think a lot of, well, I just use men because I only date men. They kind of tend to think that that's really how it works. So they try to do shit that you cannot do that they see on the porn. I'm like, I am not a girl. So, I mean, I think you need to know who you're dealing with, but too much of anything isn't good, period.
Yeah, I think that, you were right. I agree with all Natasha, CG, and Rosie, and Keisha. I agree with you all. I think it's always a fine line where somebody can go off and the expectation becomes, like you say, unrealistic, and like CG said, it's scripted. But when we say it's harmful, I could say harmful in the fact that your mate can now substitute you, you know what I mean, for something that is virtual, you know what I mean, and not I'll say tangible, because that's in the computer or your phone or whatever. You don't know those people, you know what I mean. But when you start to I think lead your relationship into porn, and don't get me wrong, because look, I have a mixed feeling about this. I feel like that porn could be used to enhance your relationship. I do believe that. I believe that as long as you don't take it to the point where you just want me to be running around with whips and chains and you hanging from my ceiling and all kinds of stuff. And that's not, if that's not my personality, you already know what it is, then you can put a higher expectation on me, then I'm not gonna be cool with that. So I say harmful. I'm glad you gave a scenario, but does anybody else have a scenario where they feel like it was harmful? You don't have to say yourself, but harmful in the sense where it caused a breakup of a relationship. Because Rosie already talked about hers, but
well, I work with women and couples, and what I've found with women is I wouldn't necessarily say a breakup in the relationship, but like a breakup from herself. Because if what she knows is from porn, then what porn shows is a lot of submissiveness, no consent. And so when they are uncomfortable, which a lot of women will go through sex being uncomfortable, just taking whatever, because that's what they assume is supposed to be done. So I've been doing a lot of work with women with understanding that no is okay, that you can shift, that sex is not about getting in that really uncomfortable position and staying there. Like, you do have a voice to say, well, can we switch or can we slow down? It doesn't have to be a pornographic thing going on. And sometimes women just don't like the porn sex, but that is what men are expecting. So I've been on the other side helping women get back connected with themselves so that they can have a more fruitful relationship with like both individuals participating. Like, if y'all pounding it out, we're gonna pound it out together. Like, we're gonna both have a say so in how it goes.
Absolutely.
So that's what I've seen on the other end. I don't really work with men because when it comes to the porn addiction thing, that's not like my expertise, but I've found that it has come up a lot when I'm working with women.
So they come to you and say that I'm just trying to make sure I understand. They come to you and say they feel inadequate, or they just
it's not an inadequate, it's a I put myself in an uncomfortable situation. Why did you put yourself in that uncomfortable situation? Well, if you look at porn, women are submissive. They may say no, but the no actually means yes, so that's what they're seeing in porn. And just like some of the men, women are not being taught about sex. So it's either from friends or it's coming from porn is where they're getting the notion of what a woman does during sex.
Okay, so I agree with that 100%. And okay, I'll just say all this. When I was younger, and I first like heard, like, I think my dad talking about it, because back then, I'm a 60s child, so back then, when that was like a taboo to look at porn. You know what I mean? Only certain people had access to it, and it wasn't on. Wasn't no no smartphones or none of that. So people was looking at them on like reels of movie reels of freaking porn. So we are way past that now. So now we are living in a more liberated, sexually free type of environment. So if you want me to be submissive, because what you saw, Dolly do does Dallas everybody on the porn screen, and you want me to do these little, I guess, performances for you. And I'm directing this to you, Natasha. How do you think that if it was reversed, where, like I said, women are addicted to porn too, and they want their man to perform in a certain way, and they can't. You look at on the porn. I mean, you don't see people that have like I guess, it's almost like a perfect world. You see what I'm saying?
Mhm.
So in your real life, that's not true. You see what I'm saying? Everybody
Right.
has something where they may feel uncomfortable with. And I know I'm
Mhm.
talking as a woman. I mean, the older I get, things ain't as tight as they used to be. And I ain't talking about my punani. I'm just talking about my
Mhm.
different parts of my body. So that makes you feel uncomfortable, so
Mhm.
I don't know how that would actually work out, but I can tell you that being in a marriage for damn near 18 years, um, if my husband is in the bathroom looking at porn, he damn sure don't tell me. You know what I mean? And he don't come in here
Mhm.
asking me for nothing. I'm not swinging from no chandelier, and we ain't doing no anal sex. We ain't doing none of those things like that. And you ain't breaking me off. You ain't twisting me backwards. We not doing none of them. Too old for that. So we not doing none of those things. So we good in that space. But I mean, I actually have friends who talk about this. That what their husbands look at it all the time, and the expectation is really high. And like you said, it's submissive. And I don't want to be the one talking. Go
So,
ahead, Kia.
so do you
I mean,
think that that is a desensitization of with desensitizing regular sex because you have seen this, so that and you keep watching all these things. We're here, we're there. Is more people? Is this? Is that? And it's not your reality. That sometimes you want to make that your reality, which causes
yeah,
a
yeah,
problem within the
yeah.
relationship.
Until they try to put your leg behind your head or something like that, then I'm that's not my reality no more. And then I want to step out of that. I don't want to, because I don't know if anybody like follow Michael Baston on Facebook. I just never
Mhm.
knew he was just like so into all kinds of stuff. You know what I mean? Like, and I'm not knocking him, but he really makes people feel you need to look at porn. You need to, if you're not in a committed relationship, you need to not try to be in a committed relationship. You need to just go out and have fun and have multiple partners. And I think we are in that era where multiple partners, of course, we gay and lesbian, all that is just the norm now. You see what I'm saying? So I
Mhm.
think that when we talk about porn and how it can be harmful, I think it's real a mindset. If you think that that person is the person that you're looking at on TV, but where do you draw the line at? So, CG, who was going to
What's
say
that?
something? Keisha?
I was getting ready to say, do you think that people feel what if a person feels like the only time that they can have sex is to watch porn first? Like
And
they have
that's a
no,
concern.
yeah.
That's a concern. And also thinking about porn is like a really quick fix.
Mm-hmm.
Mm-hmm.
Like you want that feel good, you want that thing now. Whereas in a relationship, you got to do the foreplay, like you got to talk things out. And it's like, this is kind of drawn out. And some people don't want to do that. So porn can be a quick fix. But I use porn with like I suggest that to my clients, especially couples. Like if you don't know what you don't know, how can you
Uh-huh.
say what you do and don't like?
Mm-hmm.
So I always tell them, go down the porn rabbit hole, and have a conversation about what you're watching. Because some things, it may not be a no. It may be a, well, what would this look like? Or what would be the compromise? So it's not always a bad thing. I feel like porn can be an issue when it, one, keeps you from functioning. Like you can't go to work, you can't make no money, you're not paying your bills, you're not interacting with anyone, you're just isolating with that. But also if it keeps you away from your partner and you have the unrealistic expectation of your partner, or there is a lack of desire between you and your partner because you just want the quick fix of porn, then that could hinder a relationship. But I think it has its goods and its bads.
I do too. So I'm the one saying all the harmful things, but you know, what are the good things about porn? You just broke it down, Natasha. So Rosie, what is some of the good things about porn?
I definitely say, obviously, like Natasha said, how could you say you don't like something if you've never seen it? So you can see things to discover whether or not something you'd want to try, kind of get out of your element. I was going to ask a quick question before we got to this though, but I've asked before on my podcast, and you know, sometimes people are into certain things that they don't tell their partners. I don't know if it's because they're not sure if they'll be into it, but I've said it before, me personally, if somebody's into some freaky shit, I would like to know immediately.
Yeah.
Like, I would not want you to wait and then you want me to try all these things that I'm like, okay, I'm
I
not
agree.
Yeah.
So I know some people don't say it because it's probably like, okay, this probably a little bit is too much for someone and I want to kind of wait. But I don't think that that's helpful to the other person. And I think you're dragging something because there's certain things I 100% will not perform in the bedroom. So if you don't tell me that you like these things, then I think there's certain things for everybody. Find your tribe. Somebody's gonna do it and not mine. But don't be trying to set me up. You want to do some freaky things. You don't tell me about it till later.
That's right, because the relationship would be over. I'm telling you that, because I'm not gonna let nobody make me feel abused. You're not gonna burn me. You're not gonna do none of those things. I mean, because you see somebody on it. We're not doing that. You're not gonna be doing none of those things to me. I think more of myself than you want to do little torturous things to me. That's not gonna work because that's your fantasy and that make you happy. We're not doing those things. We just not. So if you want to have it, have me out your life real quick, pull out some kind of instrument or some kind of firearm or something that you think that we want to play around with. Absolutely not. So I agree with you, Rosie, because if you don't tell me up front, you know what I mean, you don't have to just blatantly just say, well, I like women who just do anal sex all the time. You're not looking for me. You know you're looking for somebody else. You're not looking for me. So, you know, we need to
I'm interested to know what would everyone's, like, how would you, I know how I would do it, but I want to know how y'all would, you know, start having those conversations. Like, and I'm not talking about like basic, hey, you know, like I'm talking about deep. Are you licking booty? Like, are you like, how, because if you're saying, I want to know what you into, how are you going to ask? Because if they're not saying it because there's a shame and embarrassment and they're not feeling vulnerable and they're not open to that. So if y'all were in the situation and you want to know, how would you go about asking? And when are you going to do it? You doing it on the third date?
You better do that on the first date. And I'll just say this. See, like I'm a jokester, you know what I mean? So I can joke somebody into telling their real colors, you know what I mean? Like, really, I can joke your ass into some stuff. Like I'll make you feel like, oh, ha, ha, ha. Well, boy, you want to act like you want to lick somebody's ass. And the people be like, yeah. And I'd be like, see, right. Right there, you know what I mean? Joke them into, you know, bring that. And then you can have you can start the conversation. Well, that's what you like? That's what you into? Yeah, girl,
I like that. That's a good answer, Kimmy. I like that.
Joke them into it. You know what I mean? Because if it's something that they don't like, then you could be like, I'm just playing. You know what I mean? You know, I ain't really mean that. You know, but if you joke and they be like, yeah, when the heck that gonna happen? Never. Okay. Well, I just wanted to see what you was about. But I think it makes it easy, Natasha, instead of putting somebody really on the spot. You know what I mean? It makes it easy for the person where they can back their own self out and be like, yeah, okay, I know what he into. People will, and I think that people that have, and I ain't gonna say habits that are not the norm, because right now everything is the norm, basically.
Fetishes.
So yeah, these little fetishes and things that go on, it may not apply to me, but it's applying to somebody. But I think it's the way you actually present it, and I think joking is a good way to present something without having to fall yourself in a way where you're embarrassed and the other person is embarrassed. I think you already know.
Maybe you have a set of questions that are out on like some cards questions. I don't know. I don't know how I would personally ask this question, but I was just thinking about this, like game. And you have like game cards of different things that you would want to know, not just about porn, but just about anything. You slip that one on in there, and then that's how you would start the conversation from that.
That's
I like that
one.
answer too.
I like that one too. Okay, CG, do you have an answer?
Okay, so for me, this is I don't know. I can't play around with any of this stuff because I have, dabbled in some fetishes and stuff. So it's not a game for me because, there's consent that's required. There's a lot of things that's like, you have to make sure that the person that you're dealing with is safe. So or feel safe, comfortable, and that you're even
That's
at
the
that
biggest
point
one,
in the
yeah.
relationship where you can even be vulnerable enough to have that conversation. So for me, it's always been, yo, are you cool with this? How do you feel about this? Like, it's just so direct because you don't want anything to come out as like, you treated me bad, you did that, and it's like, this is the game that we're talking about. What do you mean? Like, you don't want anything left up to, someone else's interpretation. So you have to be, very direct if you're talking about certain fetishes. So I don't know. For me, it's always been pretty clear and direct. And also because I feel like today, like there's a big blur. I'm just gonna say it, man. This is even.
Say it.
I feel like there's a lot of blur between what sexual assault is and what it isn't. And sometimes I feel like sometimes like there's a regret that comes with having sex with somebody, and somebody can say, "Oh, you sexually assaulted me," because I regret it. So for me to be safe as a man, I need everything laid out. I need to communicate it completely because I don't want to be at the end of somebody's accusation because they had an assumption about something and we didn't communicate about it. So, and I just don't want to be, I don't want anything left up, to be interpreted in a different way than what it was. So, I mean, yeah, we had, you just need to communicate your expectations. If you need to say no, okay, no means no. Okay, that means I stop. Everything stops right there. Like, there's no like, oh, well, I was just playing. Like, I've dealt with girls who are like, oh, when I say no, I don't really mean no. I just want you to keep no. I'm out.
Yeah,
I'm
I never suggest no as a safe word.
Exactly.
Red, something else.
So I think it just depends on what realm you're going into. If you're into the vanilla stuff, cool. But when you're dealing with
into the what?
If you're more vanilla, about your
regular
stuff, very plain,
yeah.
very plain and regular.
Like, that's a new trend.
No,
you're very plain, regular.
Vanilla and non-traditional, more of your kinkier fetish.
Yeah, if you've got kinks, fetishes and stuff, like you need to be like very like
open,
talk about everything because it can be scary for both parties because everybody's liable.
Yeah, I mean, because if you think about it, you're a nice looking young man and women are attracted to you. I know you have a girlfriend, but I agree that because you know what when you were saying that, you know what I was thinking? If somebody said, "Ooh, Kim, I want to burn you with some cigarettes," I'm into that.
Kim, this is leading me to something. This is for Natasha. Natasha, have you had any a client that said that they participate in DOMs and subs?
I have talked to people. I've been in spaces because I'm also a kink aware professional. So
wait, hold up.
Kink aware.
Yeah, I read books and about that. So
okay, I want you to be. I want you to. That was a good one, Keisha. I want you to explain that because people that are listening may not know what that is. So
Right. So
Need to Google
being
it.
a kink aware professional basically means that the different types of trainings and things that I go to makes me aware to non-traditional sex. So doing the bondage, doing, all of those different things, I'm aware of it and I understand it. So being as a therapist, if you are a general therapist and you're not kink aware, and say someone comes into their office and they've got whelps on their body, or they've got rope burns around their wrists and you can see it, someone could interpret that as they're being abused.
Right.
Whereas for me, I'm going to ask more questions. And
Right.
if they get open enough and they say, why participate and play?
Yeah.
Okay, well, that's where you got that from. That's why you have, bruises and stuff like that, because you participate and play. And I don't just jump to, oh gosh, what's the worst? Like, you're out here playing and having yourself a good time. As long as you're good, I'm good. Let's talk about
That's
what the
a
real
good
issue
one.
is.
I've never heard of that. I mean, see, that's what I didn't want to say myself that I didn't know what you were talking about. So I
That's
just
okay. Yeah, because I want to put myself in a place where I am having a space for individuals like that to come to me, because sometimes they do have concerns. And if you go to a therapist where they're not aware of what all is going on in the non-traditional lifestyle, that can make it a really bad experience for the client, and they may never go back to therapy ever again. So I just try to
Kim, it's
stay
like
on the
50 Shades
know.
of Grey. You've seen 50 Shades of Grey, right?
I have.
So
That's
it's
not
like
the
the Dom
greatest
and stuff thing
depiction,
where,
but yeah, something similar to that.
Mhm.
But there's so many different kinks and fetishes out there. That's like the mainstream that people are
Yeah.
Can you
always
tell us a
talking
couple of the
about.
kinks and fetishes? Tell us a couple of them.
So you have asphyxiation,
Oh,
those that
what?
like to be kind of choked out and brought back.
What was that, CG?
He's doing the choke. Come on now.
I choke them out, but yeah.
Okay, yeah, okay. I got asked. I don't think I'll be playing that.
One of them that seems to be a new one, which I mean, I don't like it, but people like what they like, is when your partner spits in your mouth, like literally.
Yeah.
Oh, hell no.
I don't know when that became a thing, or maybe they weren't talking about it, but now it's so popular and everybody.
Yeah, it's always been a thing. It's part of the dom and sub relationship a lot of times, but it's also just like a consent thing. Someone says, hey, do you like that? That's one of those beginning conversations, but I know that can be hard to bring up if you're one in a lifestyle and you're like communicating with someone that's not, and they would have a reaction like, what? No, you're not spitting, so.
Spit. That caused a lot of ass whoopings. You talking about spit on?
Those were non-consensual. Those were non-consensual.
You don't just be whipping that stuff out and like without talking to somebody first. Like that's some weird stuff. Like somebody tried to make me their sub, and then like I didn't know anything about the kink world like that. And the first time it's like they slapped me, and I'm like, what the, I almost got into a fight. I'm not gonna lie, I almost got into a fight. I didn't know what was going on.
You need to make it clear up front. You know what I mean? If somebody slapped me in my face and then you want to spit on me and spit.
That was my first. That was my first experience. I was like, oh, I'm not a sub. That's not for me.
Yeah, I'm not. I don't even want to be. I just want to be neutral. I just want to be neutral. I don't want to be into situations where I feel like you jeopardizing my health, my well-being with that kind of stuff. I mean, okay, all right. So spin. What's some more? Because this is like really juicy. Because I don't know nothing about this, and now I'm like, okay, like I'm taking notes.
Well, you have your bondage, of course.
Mm-hmm.
You have your impact play, which would be paddles, flogs, whips, things of that nature.
Everybody black here on this platform. Y'all know your mama beat y'all when y'all was little. So I don't know why.
Anything though. I have been to a lot of conventions where there are Black people and people of color that do enjoy impact play. Which is why I'm so big on being kink aware, because a lot of times Black people are like, ain't nobody doing that. Black people aren't doing that. That is very untrue.
Oh, okay. So we didn't pull the paddle out and we beating, we spanking. Okay, so what's next?
So you have your foot fetishes.
Your feet?
Yeah.
What you doing with your feet?
whatever they want to do, as long
So
as
apparently
they're
I
okay
had
with it.
discovered that people like a foot job. I ain't never heard of that until
What is a foot
What is
job?
a foot job?
literally you getting a hand job with the woman's feet or whatever sex is.
Yep.
They're rubbing their feet. I was like, wait a minute. So this is a thing. So
Mm-hmm.
that's a fetish. People like it. Women like to perform it. Guys like to receive it. I didn't know about it until last year, but that's a thing.
I mean, I see that. I could see that being a thing. You just gotta have some halfway decent feet. Not come
There
in with
are
some hammer,
lots
some
of
hammer time, and you want to massage your point. You know?
And
I'm so
there's some people
turned
out there with some
off.
real foot fetishes, y'all. I remember I came out the club one time and my homegirls with me, and I think she was selling feet pictures or something to some dude, and he met us out in the park. I guess he saw her out in public, and like this dude damn near was on his damn knees, like
absolutely.
ready to kiss her feet, like right in front of me. I'm like, really?
They
Like,
are
what
making
the
a
hell?
lot of money out.
Yeah, they make a
here
lot of
with-
money. They make a
on
lot of bread.
OnlyFans, and if you could, I get down the rabbit holes of Twitter, TikTok, Instagram. Like there are people who have Instagram strictly for their feet. Like, yeah, they're out here making just as much money for feet as they are panties.
Mhm.
Right.
Mhm.
Oh, well, let me go check out. I got some nice feet. You got some nice feet. Have a nice side job. Ain't no harm, no foul. No harm. Man, thanks for telling me. I'm gonna start doing me some research. Like, look, we in an inflationary time. A little extra money ain't never hurt anybody. And you just gotta look at my feet.
Not at all.
Okay, yeah, that's all right. Okay, so one more, Natasha.
Well,
It's so many.
the golden showers, the
Ooh.
water sport.
Wow.
Wah, wah, wah.
I don't play them games, honey.
Well, I actually heard that people are doing both now.
They've
Shower-
always
number
they've always
one
been
and
doing both.
two.
Yeah.
No,
that's
The
all
second
I
one
do.
is scat play.
What is called?
Scat play.
You don't remember Two Girls in a Cup?
I never seen that, believe it or not. As much
Well, now
as
you know. Now you know what it's about.
I
What
never
did you-
seen
Wait a minute. Y'all going too fast and I'm old and slow. CG, repeat what you just said. I was
Two
like,
Girls in a Cup. Don't look at it. If you ain't into this, I'm not into this stuff. So I'm just like, if you're not ready to see no scat play, don't go looking
Yeah,
it up.
don't.
No.
That
Mm-mm.
traumatized me as a kid. Good God.
No.
He said as a kid.
Yeah, I mean, because I was a teenager when it came out. Was I a teenager? I think so, yeah. This is like
I've
90s.
never seen it, but I mean, I've seen my fair share of videos just because for therapy, I have to watch, go to a training where it's like doing a sexuality reassessment and kind of going through all the things so that I can see clients that I want to see and make sure that I'm not judgmental and I'm not giving them the factor because I've
Mhm.
already seen it.
Mm-hmm.
wow.
I had
Go ahead.
I had a Dom on as a guest on my podcast, and she talked about a lot of the services she performs. I know one of the kinks, which I'm sure you've heard of, Natasha, is like she wears heels or boots, and it depends on whichever the guy prefers, and she kind of like steps on their nuts or
Mhm.
Wait a minute.
Yeah.
Did that? Okay.
I forgot what she called it. Do you know the name of it, Natasha? There's a name. I don't know.
I can't remember. There's a lot of
called
the,
pain.
the humiliation
Yes.
and
Oh yeah.
yeah, it's in that
Rosie, can you
Yeah.
get that? Can you get her?
sadism and
Is she come on
masochism
on here?
arena.
'Cause I
Oh,
would love-
absolutely. I know she's OnlyFans. I'll send you her information. She talked about how she got started, which was, a very crazy story because believe it or not, a pastor introduced her to this kind of lifestyle. Yes.
I
So
believe
you
it.
can definitely have her on and then she'll tell you the whole story. But yeah, she's like heels, boots, whatever. And I'm like, that just sounds painful. But she also mentioned something as far as it's not therapy, but she also has like right after she performs all these things, afterwards,
aftercare.
she doesn't-
Aftercare.
yes, she doesn't just
Mhm.
send them home because she's like, I can imagine that it's kind of like, pretty whatever. So she provides aftercare, as you all said.
Mhm.
So it was very new to me, all these things, but yes, it definitely she definitely dived into what people like and she performs it.
Okay, so I told you I'm a little slow. So the aftercare, what's included in the aftercare? If anybody know?
whatever you need. And I believe that aftercare it shouldn't just be in the kink play lifestyle. Like, I think after sex, you should be having aftercare as well. But it's basically just after the high of all the things that you've done, you come back down. And so giving you the care you need coming down. So maybe you need to be cuddled. Maybe you need water. Maybe you need someone to give you a bath. Maybe you need like a
Long as you don't need 911 in the ambulance.
Yeah. So it's not a stick and move, because that can leave some people, they just drop, and that can mess with their emotions.
I think we covered a lot of information, right? Like, I don't know a third of this stuff. I didn't. I gotta go talk to my son and see if he can, but he probably said, "Nah, please stop."
Right.
He will say,
Don't go
"Please
that route,
stop
Kimmy.
it." You don't know. I like to interrogate him, and he just be sitting there. Once they get older, they don't have to really like answer you anymore. So I just say little things that just like mess with him. Did you know about that, Mom? Just stop it. Just stop it. That's this. It's hilarious, but
I agree with what Natasha said. At first, it used to be like, oh, white people, but Black people, I'm sure they've been into it, but now a lot of people are becoming more comfortable. I follow a lot of podcasts, or I listen to a lot of them, and a lot of Black people, they talk about their kinks. I think the more people are willing to come out and talk about it, because they've realized that there's like communities that accept it, and you can find your person that's into it. So I think people have always been doing this. They're just more comfortable to talk about it because it's more accepted. I hear that.
Yeah, I think that it's so accepted now. And I think that people use a lot of different things to help manage their day-to-day living, you know what I mean? And being in relationships is always a challenge. I don't care what nobody say. If you can put it off like, everything is good for you, but I think that there's nothing wrong with porn unless you use it as a replacement for the person that you really should be having your relationship with and communicating with. Because at the end of the day, you all named all these fetishes and stuff like this. I'm just not even at the front door. I mean, like, I guess I'm just a square. Because hell, I don't know none of this stuff going on. But I'm gonna do some research because I need to make my husband happy. Because this
No, that's not why you do it. You do it because you're interested and you would like to include him in that exploration.
That's what I'm saying. I'm going, like, if I don't know about it, then I don't know if I would like something. You see what I'm saying? I'm just clueless.
It's a good segue to conversation. Like, would you
Absolutely.
ever? And he might be like, yeah, I thought about it.
The older you get, and it's not for everybody, but when you've been married for a while, things start to just run like
autopilot.
Yep. Autopilot. And guess what? You know why I say that? Because I talk to a lot of people by being in the podcasting world. That autopilot is very dangerous. You see what I'm saying? It's very dangerous. And I'm not saying that you have to do something extraordinary every time or every week, to keep things going, but you must discuss it. You know what I mean? You must bring that back, because when you get on autopilot, hell, it's leading a life of its own, and you don't know how to pull that back in. That's when things start to go astray.
All right.
So I think that's a good one. So this was a good episode. I loved it. I'll say this. I think we need to do a episode on fetishes, because I think we just skimmed over it a little bit. We said a lot of them, but you know me, I'm half crazy, so I like to get the down and dirty of all the listeners. They want to hear that too. And you know what I always said, and I don't know if you say this to your people on your platform, Rosie. I don't care what people may like on Instagram or Facebook or whatever. They are listening, because when you have topics like that, they are listening. I'm telling you, when I go look at the statistics, I'll be like, oh, it's some people out here listening. And the things that I be thinking, the topics that may, be a little bit risque, they are listening. I had people inboxing me and saying, that was a really good, I don't know how you heard it, but thank you. You know what I mean? But that just lets me know people are more inclined to hear this than they openly come up and say it. You see?
Yeah,
So
absolutely.
how are
They're
you
looking
having a
for a safe
conversation?
space.
Yeah. So
People are
that's
looking for solutions and help in their own
Yeah.
situations. And listening to other people like, man, I thought about it, or yeah, that has crossed my mind, or
Mhm.
oh, I didn't think about it in that way, but you opened
That's
up
what
a
I'm
new
saying.
avenue for me. So yeah.
That's what I'm saying. So, you know, I think we'll do an episode on that. It may be like, you know, May, because I already got April kind of done. But Natasha and Rosie, you tell me what your schedule is. We'll talk offline about that. But if you can give me that young lady's information, I think that would be a really good episode. And, you know, we'll just all get back together again. So my final thoughts is porn is what you make it. Just
Right.
don't make it your wife or your husband.
Right.
That's my final thought. So everybody can tell me their final thoughts. Isha?
Porn could be good or bad. For the good part is it could be a stress reliever. The bad part is it could take over if you let it take over your life.
Mm-hmm. Natasha?
Porn it could be a necessity, good or bad.
True. Rosie girl.
Everything in moderation is always the key. Porn is good to watch if you want to learn some new things, like we've talked about. If you don't know about it, how will you know if you like it or dislike it?
Mhm.
But don't watch it like it's a TV show. I don't know. That's a little lose your girl or your man, but that's all.
CG?
About as real as wrestling, so you know, enjoy it for what it is.
Well, this was a great episode, everybody. Please join us every Wednesday when we have a new episode drop. You can always catch us on our social media page, Instagram, Facebook, and Twitter. I'm your girl Kimmy, and joining me tonight is
Keisha.
Natasha's here.
Rosie?
CG.
everybody. Have a good evening, and thank you for joining us on the porch.